Good afternoon, everyone. My friends, are you all here? It has been a while since I have done a live stream, and I'm happy to be back. Obviously, I was publishing podcast episodes and other videos, but I have not done a live stream in a while. I don't know how long it has been, but a few weeks, I'm guessing. So it's nice to be back. So what I'm going to do is wait for maybe half a minute, maybe a minute, so that people can join. And if you are tuning in, please make sure that you are participating in the live chat window. That's where we have conversation. Ask your questions, share your thoughts and comments in the live chat window, my friends. So, all right, maybe half a minute more. How about that? Let's wait. For those who are joining for the first time, let me just introduce by saying that this is a channel where we discuss social and political issues, both domestic and international. And these are issues that we discuss, issues pertaining to our society, issues pertaining to outside of the country, but still things that affect us, right? International issues affect us. Domestic issues affect us. That's what we talk about. So I'm going to jump into the discussion, and then hopefully more of our friends will be tuning in. Now, my friends, you know that the left-wing forces, they are very active, and they are trying very hard to prevent the federal agents from doing their work. That's right. The left-wing activists, these agitators, left-wing agitators, they're out there, they're trying to prevent ICE officers from doing their work. Day after day after day, we are seeing these left-wing agitators rioting against ICE, rioting against federal agents, rioting against the Trump administration. Broadview, Illinois. Who has heard about Broadview, Illinois? I'm sure you all have. Broadview, Illinois. Not far from Chicago. Let's talk about what's happening there. For days, it has been several days, we have heard about the left-wing activists protesting outside the ICE facility there. And when I say protest, let me clarify by saying it's not peaceful protest. Peaceful protest is something that people can do. It's their constitutional right. People can protest as long as the protests are peaceful. Exercise your First Amendment right in a peaceful manner. But that's not what the left-wing activists are doing. The left-wing activists, they're out there screaming and shouting and causing tremendous disturbance. And disturbance is not a strong enough word. You know what is going on. If you have been following the news coming out of Broadview, Illinois, you know what's going on. Paul, good to see you here. Paul is here. Paul, thanks for being here. Anyone else? Others, are you joining? We're back. We're doing live stream again, my friends. And we're going to be talking about social and political issues, domestic and international. And today we're talking about immigration enforcement. We're talking about the rule of law. We're talking about law and order, and we are talking about what the left-wing activists are doing to cause harm in our society. Left-wing activists in Broadview, Illinois, trying to erode the rule of law. These agitators, they're trying to prevent ICE from doing their job. These rioters, we've seen those videos, have we not? We've seen those videos of these left-wing rioters blocking access to the ICE facility, to the federal facility in Broadview, Illinois. These rioters, they tried to trespass on federal property, and that cannot be allowed. These rioters, they spread the germs of lawlessness. These rioters, these are people who shout, "Arrest ICE." Can you believe that? Arrest ICE? That's what they're chanting? That's what they're screaming and shouting and saying? These lawless people want ICE agents to be arrested. Why? Because ICE agents are doing their jobs, and they're doing that with a lot of dedication. My friends, the situation in Broadview, Illinois is getting more serious as time goes by. The rioters keep coming. The rioters just keep coming. It's a pipeline. They keep coming. Hundreds and hundreds of rioters. They're screaming and chanting. They're shouting. They're causing disturbance. They are trying to prevent ICE from doing their jobs. The federal agents are doing the best that they can to protect the facility. The federal agents are deploying resources to counter the lawlessness of the rioters. Tear gas being deployed. Now, my friends, let me tell you, tear gas is necessary at times like this. The federal agents have shown tremendous restraint. That is my observation. That is my assessment. As these federal agents are facing the rioters, these agents have shown a lot of restraint. The federal agents have shown tremendous self-control, and they have not acted emotionally. It's a very serious job that they're performing, these federal agents, these ICE agents. And they're taking it seriously. They're doing the best that they can. They're not being emotional. They're showing tremendous self-control. And they have kept their composure as much as they could. And now when things go out of hand, when things go out of control, when matters are escalated, when the situation gets heated, when the threats become severe, then the federal agents will have to take action, and that's what they're doing. The environment that the rioters have created, it's resulting in all this tear gas being deployed and all the pepper bullets being deployed and other chemical agents. Chemical agents are not deployed hastily. It's a serious matter. The chemical agents are not deployed carelessly and hastily. These are careful decisions. These are thorough decisions that the federal agents have to make, and the federal resources are being used. There is justification for every action taken by the federal agents. There's reason and justification for the actions that the ICE agents are taking. My friends, in recent days, a lot of attention has been given to this ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois. And it's because of the riots that are taking place in Illinois outside of this ICE facility. Now, in a rational world, enforcing the law and arresting criminals would be acceptable to each and every person. You go and talk to any rational human being, and you ask the question, hey, do you want the rule of law? Do you want law and order? The answer would be yes. Yes, because we all want a safe society. We all want safe neighborhoods. We all want safety and security and law and order in our community. Every rational human being would support law and order. But in reality, what are we seeing? What are we experiencing right now? There's a big group of people who support illegal immigration and lawlessness. And when law enforcement officers go and catch the people who broke our laws, the strange group of people, they come out and they scream and they shout and they openly support lawless individuals. If criminals are being arrested, if illegal aliens are being arrested and they're being taken to this ICE facility where they're being held, how can anyone oppose the detention of criminals? How can anyone, if you can think logically, if your brain is functioning, how can anyone oppose the arrest and detention of criminal aliens? James, good to see you. Gianna, good to see you. Gianna is here. Thank you, everyone. Paul is here. James is here. Gianna is here. Hopefully more of our friends will tune in. I know it's been a while since I've done a live stream, and so I think a lot of my friends probably don't know that I'm doing this live stream right now, but here I am. I hope to be doing more. So hopefully more of our friends will be tuning in. Make sure, my friends, make sure that you're sharing this video. Gianna is asking, are you okay? I'm doing fine, Gianna. I'm doing fine. I've just been tremendously busy, and that's why I've not been able to do a live stream. But I've been publishing podcast episodes. I've been doing those short videos. I've just been so busy, but it's great. It's great. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. With all your good wishes, with all your prayers, with with all the support that I get from each and every one of you, I'm doing fine. I appreciate that. Gianna, good to see you. James, Paul, and others who are here. I know there are more of our friends here. Not everyone's participating in the live chat. Some are probably watching silently, or maybe you're busy doing other things as you're tuning in for this live stream. That's fine. So, my friends, let me continue because we have some very important things to discuss. So I want to stay on topic here. My friends, these rioters in Broadview, Illinois, and in other places, these rioters want ICE to be arrested. Why? Why? What a bizarre slogan that they have. Arrest ICE. How bizarre, how strange, how ridiculous. I mean, it is utter nonsense. When these rioters say, arrest ICE, That is complete nonsense. We support ICE. We support the work of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. God bless the ICE agents. God bless the people who serve as ICE agents. Absolutely. My friends, if you agree with me, please write it in the live chat window. Write, God bless ICE. My friends, I'm going to read to you a sentence from a press release published by the United States Department of Homeland Security. I'm going to read to you one sentence from that press release, and you're going to be shocked hearing the information that the sentence contains. Are you ready for this? Let me read to you this one sentence from the press release. Not the whole press release, just one sentence. And the sentence goes like this, quote, "Our ICE law enforcement officers are facing a more than 1,000% increase in assaults against them," end quote. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Yes, that is correct. It is 1,000%. ICE law enforcement officers are facing a more than 1,000% increase in assaults against them. This is what the ICE agents have to deal with as they are trying to perform their responsibilities, as they're trying to do their jobs. They are also facing a more than 1,000% increase in assaults against them. So my friends, here's what I want you to do. If you are a person of faith, please keep the ICE officers in your prayers. Please keep them in your prayers, the ICE officers. Keep them in your thoughts. Pray for the families of the ICE officers. These families, not just the ICE officers, but their families also have to go through a lot. We've heard about the cases of doxing, ICE agents and their families being doxed. And so the families face tremendous difficulties. So ICE agents, they need strength, they need courage, they need training to do the work that they do, but they also need supportive families. So please keep the ICE agents and their families in your prayers, my friends. Will you do that? Please let me know in the live chat window. Please let me know, my friends. All these riots against ICE in Illinois, all these riots that we're seeing against ICE, these riots should make every freedom-loving American worried. Illinois is a place where the federal government has not received any cooperation. No cooperation from the governor, no cooperation from the mayor of Chicago. And it's not just about not receiving cooperation from state and local government. In fact, state and local government leaders in Illinois, when we're talking about not all leaders, we're talking about the left-wing politicians in positions of power. We're not talking about the conservative leaders. In fact, the left-wing state and local government leaders have strongly opposed Trump's actions, Trump administration's actions. I'll give you one example, but it's a major example. CT is saying pray all the time. Pray all the time. Absolutely. Pray all the time for the ICE agents, for all the federal agents. Pray for the federal agents. Pray for the agents who are enforcing our nation's laws. Pray for those who are putting their own lives at risk to serve the community, to serve the country. Governor Pritzker, he wrote over the weekend. This is what, listen, I'm going to read to you a quote from Governor J.B. Pritzker. Governor J.B. Pritzker is the governor of Illinois, left-wing governor. And some say that he might be a Democrat presidential candidate. Oh, the Democrats. Oh, the Democrats. The Democrats, they don't have any good candidates in stock. I mean, 2028 is still far away, but 2028 is approaching really fast. Time goes by. Time goes by really fast. The years go by, you know, one day to the next, 1 week to the next. Months go by, years go by very fast. So 2028, the Democrats are getting ready, and some of them believe that J.B. Pritzker might be a presidential candidate. So, J.B. Pritzker, over the weekend, he wrote, and I quote, Donald Trump is using federal agents to stoke fear and violate constitutional rights, all with the aims of expanding his control and sending military troops to our cities. It's unlawful and un-American. We must all stand up and speak out against fanning the flames of violence, end quote. So what a ridiculous statement from J.B. Pritzker. This is all false. Whatever he said, JB, all right? This guy with presidential ambition, I guess, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he wants to run for president. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that later on, all right? Now let's talk about his quote. The reality is that Donald Trump is using federal agents to arrest criminals and to restore law and order. But when a governor says things like what Pritzker said here, it emboldens the agitators and the rioters. This is not the only social media post from Pritzker. I mean, Pritzker is actually pretty active. You know, you look at all these Democrats and the ones that are very active in posting on social media, like they're ready to post on social media. You know why they're doing that? Because they have presidential ambition. Gavin Newsom, who we're not going to talk about today, but you all know Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has become very active on social media. He's posting stuff a lot. Why? Because I believe he wants to run for president. So does J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker posted another statement on X, which I'm going to read to you. It goes like this, I quote, Donald Trump is attempting to impose his authoritarian rule across the United States. Sending troops to cities against their will is unconstitutional and un-American. Stand up, speak out, and be loud against it, end quote. This is what J.B. Pritzker wrote. Now, I'm going to tell you what is un-American, okay? It is un-American to allow millions of illegal immigrants into the country. It is un-American to allow illegal immigrants to stay in hotels using taxpayer money while our American veterans suffer from homelessness. It is un-American to take money from American taxpayers' pockets and to give free healthcare services to the illegal immigrants. That's what's un-American. What Joe Biden did is un-American. What Kamala Harris did as Joe Biden's VP is un-American. What the Biden administration did is un-American. In Illinois, what J.B. Pritzker did, what Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson did to give millions and millions and millions and millions of money, millions and millions of dollars to the illegal immigrants to provide all kinds of services, housing, food, whatnot, using American taxpayer dollars, that's un-American. It is un-American to prioritize illegal immigrants while forgetting the American citizens. And Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, whose name I just mentioned a moment ago, shall we talk about Brandon Johnson? You want to talk about Brandon Johnson, the worst mayor in the country? Now, some of you may not agree with me. Some of you may say, Atosiv, he's not the worst one. He's the second worst. Michelle Wu is the worst. If you say that, I'm not going to argue with you. Okay? I'm not going to argue with you. If you say, Tosif, you're wrong. Brandon Johnson is not the worst mayor. Michelle Wu of Boston is the worst mayor. All right. If that's your opinion, sure. But you would agree that he's one of the worst, right? I mean, let me ask you this. Who do you think is the worst mayor in the United States? Why don't you tell me? I'd say Brandon Johnson. Would you say Karen Bass? Karen Bass, is that what you're going to say? Michelle Wu, maybe? Let me know. But we're going to talk about Brandon Johnson here, okay? He wrote on X on September 12th. He wrote the following, and I quote, "From the beginning, our position has been clear. If the president were as serious as I am about driving down crime and violence, he would talk to us about what is actually working to reduce crime. He would release the $800 million in violence prevention funds that he cut," end quote. Unbelievable. How can this guy, Brandon Johnson, ask for more money? This mayor has the courage to ask for more federal money while having a record of handing out taxpayer dollars to illegal immigrants. Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking for $800 million in violence prevention funds, okay? What's your thought on that? What does that even mean? What violence prevention funds? What kind of nonsense is this? What is the city of Chicago going to do with $800 million? Violence prevention fund? Really? The mayor and his left-wing allies have not been able to prevent any violence Or perhaps they never tried to prevent any violence. Maybe they don't care. Maybe Brandon Johnson and his left-wing buddies don't care. They don't care about public safety. If there's violence in Chicago, if there's robbery and shootings and thefts and carjackings, these left-wing politicians, maybe they just don't care. They're very busy enjoying their own lives. They're busy enjoying their political power, and they don't care. Maybe that's the case. But Brandon Johnson is asking for $800 million for violence prevention. Does anyone really know what this so-called Violence Prevention Fund does? Do you know? Can you tell me what it does? This violence prevention? Does it go out to nonprofit organizations? Does it go out to government agencies? What do you think happens to all this money? Does it go out to nonprofits? And maybe the nonprofits then use the money for all kinds of programming, for violence prevention. Is that what happens? Are these organizations, are these agencies, whoever gets the money, or this kind of money, or has received this kind of violence prevention fund in the past, what do they actually do to prevent violence? There's a lot of violence in Chicago. These left-wing politicians in charge, they have not been able to reduce violence. Chicago has been a pretty violent city for a very long time. Democrat mayor after Democrat mayor came and they failed to prevent violence. And now Brandon Johnson wants violence prevention fund. This guy's complaining that Trump has cut $800 million in violence prevention fund. What exactly is done with this kind of money? Brandon Johnson, answer. Does it go towards paying the salaries of nonprofit CEOs and nonprofit vice presidents? Does the money go towards paying for salaries of agency heads in local government? I don't know. Tell me, my friends, who's here? Aloha is here, Jason is here, Ozzy is here, okay. There are others who are here. Lou is here. Anyone else here? Anyone else? Do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want me to take a 30-second break so that you can introduce yourself in the live chat window? Because the live chat window is very important. This is where we have conversation. This is where you can share your thoughts. This is where you can ask whatever questions come to your mind. You can go ahead, just say hello, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from. Tell us what your biggest topic is. What issue do you care about the most? Whatever you want to share, you can do that in the live chat window, my friends. Go ahead, do it. If you're still undecided, you're watching, you've been watching for a while, and you have not typed anything in the live chat window, my friends, go ahead. Don't be shy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. This is a community that is growing in size, a community of freedom-loving people, a community of patriotic Americans, a community that also includes people outside of the United States, but people who care deeply about freedom. They want world peace. They want a good global economy. If you're watching this, you are welcome. Be here. Participate. There's a lot to talk about. today and in the days to come. Share this video. Subscribe if you have not done so already. Go right ahead, my friends. Do it. My friends, I will tell you what real violence prevention would look like. You wanna know about violence prevention? Let me tell you. To prevent violence, funds should be used to pay for more federal agents to go into Chicago and to catch criminals. If you want to reduce violence in Chicago, don't just take a big pot of money and hand it over to the left-wing politicians in Chicago. Use the money to pay for federal agents, train the federal agents, hire more federal agents, and allow them to go into Chicago and use their training and their knowledge and their skills and their expertise to catch criminals. Pay for the salaries and resources of the federal agents as they go in to arrest dangerous criminals, including illegal aliens in Chicago. That would be real violence prevention, and not just in Chicago. It could be done in Chicago and in other cities. Baltimore, New York, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis. Why don't you name a few other cities where you would like to see federal agents going in and catching criminals? Vilma is here. Vilma is asking me about federal raid, right? Listen, let me give you a general answer, all right, Vilma? If there are illegal aliens working in, or they're illegal aliens, they are located someplace, okay? And if the federal agents find out, okay, there are maybe like 20, 50, 100 illegal aliens, in some sanctuary, or they are in some in an area concentrated where they're hiding, federal agents have a responsibility to go and catch those illegal aliens. Absolutely. I'm giving you a general answer. Illegal aliens. Who are the illegal aliens? They are here illegally. These are people who don't have authorization to be in the United States. That's why it's called illegal alien. Because those who are here legally, they are the legal aliens, legal immigrants. They may be tourists, they may be visitors, they may be people on temporary visas for work. They may be students, they may be permanent residents, people with legal status. So we have seen workplace raids. Workplace raids are important. It is important. And the workplace raids that the federal agents do, these are not done lightly. These are not just casual raids. They have information. They do investigation. They know what is going on. They know about the wrongdoings. They know about criminal activities of the illegal aliens, which is why the federal agents do the raids that they do, including workplace raids. It happens for a reason. Bree, good to see you, Bree. Thank you for being here, Bree. So, for real violence prevention, we need more federal agents, more ICE agents, more other agents, DEA, Customs and Border Protection. We need more federal agents. And we need more agents to go into more cities, and in cities in particular that are sanctuaries for the illegals, and catch the criminals. Now, penalizing criminals by giving them a slap on the wrist, it doesn't work. It's time for real action, my friends. Time for real action, and we have seen some action in Wisconsin. Now, who wants to hear about what happened in Wisconsin? In Wisconsin, in Manitowoc County, ICE arrested 21 people, and out of the 21 people, 9 of them are suspected to be involved in the assault and trafficking of children. And FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, wrote on X, and I'm going to read to you the quote from FBI, okay? Listen to this. And I quote, "Today, FBI Milwaukee and ICE led a joint operation with the assistance of the U.S. Marshals, DEA, CBP, and IRS CI in arresting 21 subjects in Manitowoc County. All the subjects are in the country illegally. 9 of the subjects were targeted for their suspected involvement in the sexual assault and/or trafficking of minor American girls. FBI Milwaukee and our law enforcement partners are dedicated to and focused on protecting and safeguarding our Wisconsin communities every day." End quote. Thank you to the FBI and to ICE and to the U.S. Marshals and to DEA and to CBP and to IRSCI. And IRS is Internal Revenue Service, and CI is Criminal Investigation. So thank you to the federal officials, to the federal agents, to the law enforcement community involved in arresting these 21 subjects who are in the country illegally. And not just in the country illegally, as I mentioned, 9 of the 21 subjects were targeted for their suspected involvement in the sexual assault and/or trafficking of minor American girls. Horrible, horrible crimes. Thanks to the federal agents for making Manitowoc County safer by arresting these people. Richard is here. Hi, Richard. Good to see you. Bedtime Stories is here. Hello there. So nice to be doing a live stream again, my friends. So nice to be doing a live stream again. So what I just told you, this happened in one county, Manitowoc County. Look it up on a map. Look up the county map of Wisconsin. Just go on the internet. 72 Wisconsin counties. Manitowoc is one of the 72 counties. And there are other counties in Wisconsin. There are so many other counties all over the country where criminals may be hiding. And those criminals must be arrested. Now, more than ever, we need local law enforcement agencies to partner with federal immigration authorities. Honor the detainers. Hold the illegal aliens in custody and hand them over to ICE. Local police departments and sheriff's departments protect communities, and the federal agents do the same. So they all need to be on the same page. Local, state, federal, all need to be on the same page. We need more ICE action in Wisconsin, especially in a city like Milwaukee. We were talking about Manitowoc County. You know what? We need ICE action in Milwaukee. But we have to look beyond Wisconsin. Wisconsin and beyond. Let's talk about Oregon. You want to talk about Oregon? You want to talk about a state on the West Coast? Let me know in the live chat, my friends. Let me know. My friends, so nice to be back doing a live stream again. So nice to be doing a live stream again. I hope you'll share this. Share this video. Share this, my friends. Michael is here. Michael, who are you referring to, Michael? Doesn't seem like a friendly comment, and I wonder who you're referring to. All right. Michael says, I'm talking about... Why, Michael? Why such an unkind comment towards me, Michael? What is wrong with you, Michael? That's not a nice comment. I'm not going to repeat that. And but I'm really confused, Michael, why you wrote what you wrote. I'm sharing the truth. I'm sharing the facts, Michael. Jonathan is here. Hi, Jonathan. Jonathan, I'm doing well. Thank you so very much. I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be doing a live stream again. It's such a pleasure to be back. Wonderful to see everyone. And right at this moment, let me tell you, I'm in a state of confusion because I don't understand why Michael has such an unkind comment for me. I don't know. Everything's going well except that comment from Michael, which confused me so much. I thought, well, Michael's talking to someone else, perhaps. Even then, it would be not appropriate. Never say unkind stuff to anybody, Michael. Michael, you got to learn the power of love, okay? Love for all humanity, okay? So, love for our country, which is why I'm discussing these issues. We love our country. We want to protect our country. And that's why we need to restore law and order. So I don't know why Michael has an issue with that. I don't quite understand it. But, what can I say? All right, so we're going to talk about Oregon. We're going to talk about Oregon. President Trump, the greatest president in the world, wrote on Truth Social, and I believe he wrote this yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And I quote, I'm gonna give you a statement he posted on Truth Social. This is the statement, quote, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, I'm directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I'm also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter, end quote. Wow. This is real leadership. This is real leadership. If somebody asks you to define what leadership is, if somebody comes to you and says, what is leadership? Well, you are going to point that person towards this Truth Social post and say, this is real leadership. This action, this decision by President Trump is real leadership. He is authorizing, he's directing the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, by the way, no longer Secretary of Defense. It's now the War Department, not the Department of Defense. It's the War Department. So President Trump has directed the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our ICE facilities under siege from the attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. And President Trump has also said he's authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you, President Trump. My friends, do you want to write that in the live chat? Just write it. Thank you, President Trump. Portland, West Coast, we're talking about Portland. President Trump is taking all the right steps. My friends, Richard just wrote, thanks, President Donald J. Trump. Absolutely. Who's this racing person? What do you mean by that? I'm looking at this strange comment. I don't know. I get some strange comments sometimes, which, I can't figure out what's going on. What do you mean? I have no idea. Anyway, I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on a comment that I don't understand. Okay, I'm not gonna spend time trying to understand things that cannot be understood. Okay, some strange comments here. That's all right. That's all right. So the Oregon governor, oh, she is having a meltdown. Have you you got to go on the internet and look for Governor Tina Kotek's reaction to President Trump's decision. Okay, Tina Kotek, Oregon governor, left-wing governor, and she is saying, all right, I'm gonna read to you her quote. Tina Kotek. Have you heard of Tina Kotek? All right, not a high-profile politician, a governor of a state, but not a high-profile politician. So Tina Kotek. Hold on. All right. Okay. Wow. All caps. See all caps. When you see all caps in the comment section, in angry comments, all caps. Hey, listen. Let me continue. All right. Governor Tina Kotek of Oregon, she is having a meltdown. That's a left-wing governor, and she is saying, I quote, "In my conversations directly with President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Noem, I have been abundantly clear with them that Portland and the state of Oregon believe in the rule of law and we can manage our own local public safety needs." End quote. Wow. They can manage their own public safety needs. Hey, listen, if we talk about lawlessness in Portland, if we want to talk about all the incidents of lawlessness in Portland, it's going to be a very long list. And this Oregon governor says we can manage our own local public safety needs. No, you can't. You failed, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek. You failed to manage your state's public safety needs. People are suffering. People want to get out of Portland. You know that? In case you don't know, you can do your own research. People living in Portland, many people, they cannot wait to get out of Portland. They just want to run away from Portland. That city is such a mess. That city is completely out of control. And there are people who have jobs, they have houses, they have apartments, condos in Portland, and they just can't get out. Because, once you have roots in a community, you can't just pack up and go. And so, a lot of people, they live in these completely lawless communities and they suffer, but they just can't leave because it's not easy to just pack up and go. So there are many people in Portland who are stuck there, who are like, they want to get out. They want to go to some red state. They want to go to some city run by solid conservatives. But they're stuck in Portland. And they're just waiting for the right time, waiting for the right opportunity to get out of Portland. And once they leave Portland, they're never going to go back. Okay? So, people are suffering in Portland, and President Trump wants to make Portland a safe city. Okay? And Tina Kotek said, I'm going to give you another quote. She said, there is no insurrection, there is no threat to national security, there is no need for military troops in our major city. Tina Kotek. But no matter what Tina Kotek says, President Trump's decision is not going to change. President Trump has given directions, and his decision is solid. His decision is final. And federal resources will be deployed in Portland. And it's time to make Portland a safe city. All right. So, my friends, I want to hear your thoughts, obviously. So please share with me what your thoughts are. Bree is saying we need help in Detroit. Bree, I understand that President Trump is going to look at, this is just my understanding, going to look at various cities and states and assess what kind of help is needed where. So, I'm still waiting for President Trump to deploy the National Guard troops to Chicago. I don't live in Chicago, but I visit Chicago quite a bit. I was there not too long ago. So I'm waiting for President Trump to take action in Chicago, stronger action in Chicago. So, my friends, that's all I have for now. Let me see the live chat window here. So the question that I asked, should President Trump deploy National Guard troops to Chicago? 69% said yes. 69% said yes, 31% said no. Thank you. That's a very, very reasonable answer. Should President Trump deploy National Guard troops to Chicago? Overwhelmingly, people said yes. 69% said yes. Thank you. I agree. The answer is yes. President Trump should deploy National Guard troops to Chicago. So, my friends, we have reached the 1 hour mark. I do a lot of long live streams. In the past, I've done live streams that have been more than 3 hours long. So I'm happy to do longer live streams. Today I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'll be back with more videos and more live streams. So please, please, please stay connected to my channel. Okay, I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Those who are new, those who have watched, those who are watching this video for the first time because you're new to the channel, please make sure that you're subscribing. Subscribe so that next time I do a live stream, you can get notifications and you can tune in. NC, good to see you, NC. NC from New Jersey, right? Uh, all right. Um, Thank you so much. Thank you, my friends. I'm going to wrap it up now, but I'll be back again with more videos and live streams. Thank you, my friends. God bless you all. I'll be back again very soon. Thank you.